Hello everyone, welcome to the Jacksonville History Show. I'm Harry Reagan. The Jacksonville History Show is brought to you by the Jacksonville Historical Society and the University of North Florida Communications Department. Tonight, in this show, we'll be previewing one of the special events of the Jacksonville Historical Society, the annual Gingerbread Extravaganza. And our guest is Emily Liska. Welcome, Emily.
Well, thank you, Harry. Good to be here. And a big kudos to UNF for producing this today.
Absolutely. A collaboration, as we call it.
We're deeply appreciative. If only they would build a gingerbread house, they'd really be in our good stead. Yes.
Maybe next year.
Maybe so.
So let's talk about the Gingerbread Extravaganza. It's an annual event. It started out with us as a partner, Historical Society, and now it's our event altogether.
It did. It started out with the Rotary Club of South Jacksonville. They were the people who began this many years ago in Jacksonville, about 14, and the Jacksonville Historical Society, when Rotary decided to step away, took over the event. It had already been at our building, our beautiful headquarters in what's considered downtown Jacksonville, Old St. Andrews. It's right next to the baseball park. Some would also know it, where the Armada plays.
Sure, across the street from the arena.
Across the street from the arena, and also across the street from the fairgrounds, and just down the street from the stadium, the football stadium.
And if you go to the Gingerbread Extravaganza, there's a building next door, which you'll get a chance to take a look at, the Merrill House.
It is. It's a fabulous history museum house, and that tells the history of Jacksonville through the eyes of this one family, upper middle class, at the turn of the century, and we also interpret that during the holidays. So I think it's a real eye-opener for everybody. It's a beautiful building, very expressive, and it is a showcase for Jacksonville. And I have to know, so people are allowed, to see this wonderful house. And by the way, this year, something new at the house for people who've seen it in the past. We will have a special toy exhibit in the house, toys from the past, the joys and noise of 19th century toys.
Fantastic.
It's in the overall theme, Toying with History, which we plan to do.
And of course, the extravaganza and the tour are very popular with kids. A lot of field trips and so forth every year.
And I'd like to, it's exactly right. I'll explain what the extravaganza is for people who don't know, because I sometimes get this after I'm talking about it for 10 minutes or so. It's this wonderful event where professionals and amateurs come together, and they've created either classic gingerbread houses or perhaps everything is culinary, so all food products, typically confections, lots of gingerbread typically, so we of course have named it that for the season, but everything from classic traditional holiday themes to storybook themes. Of course, where you're at the Historical Society, so you're going to see a lot of historic structures there. You'll see all kind of movie themes and just fantasy, whatever comes out of people's heads. It's a great creative expression in a culinary delivery system.
So we're going to take a look at some photos of past exhibits and some that you would see this year as well.
A few you will see this year, and that will just tell you that you can save them. One that didn't make it but sure was a beauty was the Florida Yacht Club. That was a couple of years ago, and I believe it's up on the screen now. A fabulous piece, and of course that's a 1920s historic structure for Jacksonville, Florida, and a lot of fun to see in gingerbread and confection. I think the most popular in one given year was one from the movie Up. And Up, I think those who've seen it will know that a house got carried away by a giant balloon in solution to a problem presented in a movie I've never seen, but every child in Jacksonville clearly has. And it was a beloved creation, as I know people can see right now when they're looking at a shot from this. Probably one of the most popular types of presentations would be to explain it in some sort of book form. And what most people don't know when they're at the Gingerbread Extravaganza, actually all the little books they're looking at explaining perhaps the house or the building, which is also made out of gingerbread or confection. The book is edible too. It's made out of confection, and they're seeing it in this one particular shot. And then, of course, a scene that's near and dear to my heart, a former gingerbread house. It's actually the gingerbread St. Andrews, where the event is held. And that was a creation that just lasted and lasted for many years. It won't be with us any longer. And you see it's made out of wonderful gingerbread covered with fondant and was extremely popular. The Fire Museum. Now, Harry, you know a lot about this. You're on the board of the Fire Museum and have been.
And it used to be an operating fire station. It's now a museum. Lots of kids go there.
And of course,
for, tours.
And the one we showed in Gingerbread, although it wasn't an operating fire station, for all the world you can look in it and see every apparatus and piece. It is amazing, and of course in its year, a few years ago, it won Best in Show. And I know on good authority it will be back again this year. So that's exciting to come see. The next gingerbread house we're going to show is also making a return. This is a beloved structure in Jacksonville, Florida. At one time, it was the 1912 Cohen Brothers department store, and today we know it as City Hall in Jacksonville. City Hall at St. James. It fronts Hemming Park. I sure wish somebody out there would construct Hemming Park for the gingerbread. And by the way, we're still taking, as we move on to another image of the St. James building, or Cohen Brothers, showing the beautiful, beautiful store windows that department store was known for at one time, especially at Christmas time. They're showcased in Gingerbread here. I should also tell you, we're soliciting builders. And not everyone has to build something as elaborate as Cohen Brothers department store or our today's City Hall, but any creation will do. We love this idea of the amateurs and professionals next to each other. We're showing some more images of the event and the wonderful historic venue. And there's one that particularly thrilled everybody in its simplicity, but it was really quite the piece. We called it Alice in Winterland instead of Wonderland. And you see that construction comes in all forms and all types. And this is a little bit more of a vignette as opposed to just a big structure. No one could have envisioned a tribute to Jules Verne, but yes, we had it in Gingerbread. An octopus made out of gingerbread. This was spectacular. And the big balloon out of entire confection that the builder, who is not a professional, by the way, pastry chef, ended up getting this gigantic fondant balloon to remain in the air. It was spectacular.
When does it open? For how long? What hours?
It opens on December 2nd through the 23rd. Every day except Sunday, because we do work around the Jaguar football Sundays. Right. And it's open from 10 to 5 daily. And then we even will have some extended hours on this as the season goes on. They can find out on our website. It's a fabulous event where not only do they get to go to the Gingerbread Extravaganza, they get to see this wonderful history house next door. The sustainers of the Junior League of Jacksonville, they install the Festival of Trees within the Gingerbread Extravaganza. So a lot of bang for your buck. And in fact, speaking of that, people who attend are only asked for a donation for charity. And it's exciting, and we are indeed the charity. We save all the history of Jacksonville, Florida, we being the Jacksonville Historical Society. So it's an exciting event that we love to bring.
Briefly, the Gingerbread Extravaganza is not the only thing the Historical Society does. So just an overview of what else goes on down there at Old St. Andrews.
Well, most people know us for our speaker series. We'll have at least monthly some sort of a program down in the same building, Old St. Andrews, where we have the Gingerbread Extravaganza, and some component of Jacksonville history, and we just all kind of fabulous programs. One of the upcoming is the 10 most amazing people from Jacksonville you've probably never heard of. So we really try to delve into the city's history, aspects people don't know. We produce films, we produce books. Some of the best books on Jacksonville history are published through the Jacksonville Historical
We try
Society.
to help save endangered historic buildings.
Absolutely. Typically, once a year, we'll come out with our most endangered list of Jacksonville historic properties, and that's always exciting, gets a lot of media attention as well, it should. We also offer tours downtown. I think I wore everybody out with the Gingerbread City Hall, well, which you saw many times. What you should know as well, we give tours in City Hall, so we're very proud of that. And these are history tours all through the building and the surrounding historic Hemming Park and some of the outlying streets. So the Jacksonville Historical Society does that as well. We also go out, you've done this for us many a time, and speak to groups and organizations. And then probably one of the most important aspects of the Jacksonville Historical Society is we collect and save the history of Jacksonville, Florida, in every format almost imaginable. Diaries, journals, television programs pertinent that might be 50 years old, films, movies, old papers, rare books, photographs. That's probably the most popular part of the collection. And not only do we just save that, preserve it, we share it with the public. So researchers all the time. In fact, I will say, some of the most active use of the Jacksonville Historical Society archives comes from students and professors right here at the University of Florida, where they're generously letting us film today.
And you can find much more at jaxhistory.org or call 665-0064.
That's fine.
Emily
Yes.
Liska, thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
thank you for watching.